Jeffrey and Jessica have just turned 18 years old. Jeffrey's still a virgin, but Jessica's been getting passed around from Chad and Tyrone. Whilst Jeffrey stays up late playing video games, Jessica stays up late in another man's car giving him a BJ in the woods. That's disgusting, Jessica. Damn, both of you are losers. Don't you have any goals or ambitions for the future? 99% of our generation are like this, apart from Adonis. Adonis is the most successful, handsome, charismatic tribe leader ever. He doesn't reset his nofap streak like all the weak men of today. He uses his sexual energy to build a life he's proud of. And that attracts Anastasia. They are a high-performing couple, and it all started with putting in the work when they were younger. Number 1, lean is law. In terms of weightlifting and building a body that's really attractive, I wish I knew when I was 18 that being lean is so much more important than being bigger, and I wish I just stayed lean at about 10 to 12% body fat and just kept a six-pack year round. I kept on eating dirty food and calling it a bulk and then doing like a dirty bulk and gaining a bunch of weight and getting a bit chubby, and it just lowered my attractiveness and my confidence. So if I could go back in time now, I would tell that version of me to just stay leaner, stay lighter, have the six-pack, the jawline, the cheekbones, because you'll just look and feel so much better, especially when you're younger. Because online there's the great debate between should you be leaner or should you be bigger? Do girls like it when a guy is lean and shredded, or do they like it when a guy is bulky and has more of the dad bod? And on the internet you might have seen that a lot of women say that they like the bulkier look, the more dad bod look, but in real life that's just not the case. When you are leaner, you will notice so much more attraction from women. Number 2, I wish I understood dopamine. Dopamine is like your sense of motivation and drive, and your dopamine levels go up when you're doing a bad habit that's really pleasurable and overstimulating, like porn and junk food and drugs. But once you're done with those activities, your dopamine level goes down below what it started at, which means that then you're literally less motivated and less driven for the other things you want to do, like fitness and studying. I wish I understood this because I think it would have helped me to choose better habits rather than the really bad dopamine habits that I was spending my time with when I was 18 years old. Number 3, I wish I knew to prioritize my health because it literally makes you more attractive. Especially when you're young, you really care about how you look. And one of the best ways to looks max is to improve your health. So stop drinking, stop taking drugs, go to bed early, wake up, get sunlight, and eat clean. If you just do these things, you'll go up by like 1 point out of 10. If you're like a 6 out of 10, you'll go to like a 7 out of 10. In just a few weeks, you'll remove just enough like bloating from your face that your face will just look more angular and sharper. You'll remove just enough of like the black eye bags underneath your eyes that your face will look more like a model's and more picturesque. You'll lose a little bit of belly fat, your testosterone will go up, your skin will get nicer in the sunlight, and so when you improve your health, you improve your looks. Number 4, don't align your life to girls. Align your life to success or even a disciplined routine or health or dopamine. Back when I was 18 years old, the North Star of my life, like the thing that I was aligning my entire life to, was basically just girls and having fun in university. But if I could go back in time now, I would recommend the 18-year-old version of me to change the North Star, like the big thing that he was trying to get in life, from girls to just all-round success or the most disciplined, healthy life instead. When that is the big goal, you'll end up attracting girls anyway, but you'll just change your habits enough that you actually develop something for the future. You'll start making a business, you'll improve your health and your fitness, and you'll automatically attract girls rather than making girls the big focus of your life. And suddenly you're out at the clubs 2-3 times a week in parties trying to speak to girls and trying to get laid as much as possible. Number 5, you probably have ADHD. When I was 18 years old, 19 years old, I remember I was in university and I used to go to the gym with my flatmates. And every morning he'd come up to me and he'd be smiling as he says, "Hey Hamza, are you bulking or cutting today?" Basically, he was like slightly like insulting me in like a joke because I kept on changing from a bulk to a cut, which is supposed to be things that you do for weeks, even months. And I kept on changing day to day. I didn't realize at the time that this was like a symptom of ADHD where you change your mind so much. You get hyper focused on this new idea that just popped into your mind and you forget the goal, the path you were just on. And this wasn't just with bulking and cutting. It was with different workout routines. It was with different friends and girls, and everything in my life was like extreme hyper focus, or I just kind of forget it exists and I'd move on to the next thing that I was hyper focused on. So I wish I knew at this age that I had symptoms of ADHD, and one of the best things that you can do to naturally improve that is to meditate, to do mindfulness meditation, where basically you just focus on the breath And when you notice that your focus has went away and you're thinking about random things, all you do is just non-judgmentally bring the focus back to your breath. And every time you bring the focus back to your breath, you've just trained your brain to be able to focus and stay in one point. A lot of people try to meditate and then they say that they can't because their mind wandered. But that's actually the point of meditation. Your mind is supposed to wander. You're supposed to get random thoughts. You just manually bring it back to the breath, and that's how you get stronger focus. The sixth thing that I wish I knew when I was 18 years old is that you should probably stay really, really busy. Otherwise, you'll just do destructive habits. Because when I was like 18 years old, I wasn't really doing anything productive other than just going to the gym and sometimes like studying and doing my university work. And so naturally, I had so much free time that I ended up just spending on like degenerate, destructive behaviors. Like just watching slop. Like I used to watch World Star hip hop compilations with my friends in my room, and we'd be eating snacks and just watching like Vine clips. Like that's how old I am. We used to watch like Vine and random memes and whatever. And then we'd all go out and binge drink and take drugs and get girls and get bad food. So if I could go back in time, I would tell this version of me to just stay really, really busy and have more of a packed routine. Go to the gym every single day. And on top of that, go to boxing as well and go running as well. You may as well become like an athlete just to take away the free time away from these destructive habits. The seventh thing I wish I knew is that your friends can actually dictate your future, or at the very least, the habits that you're doing right now that of course do dictate your future. It's better to be alone than it is to be surrounded with either bad friends or, if we're being honest, losers and degenerates. Who you hang around with will greatly influence what habits you do. And I remember this one specific day where I literally had the choice of two friendship groups. I had the usual group of friends who I would go out and take drugs with, and we would party and we would go and get girls. And we had like a few girls in our group as well. So there was like a lot of dopamine and excitement because we'd all get ready, we'd drink at my place, we'd take drugs, and we'd all go out as a big group. And I'd even like be flirting with one of the girls in our group who was like a friend, and I ended up banging her, and I ended up getting all these other girls there. There was so much stimulation and pleasure. And one night they all wanted to go out. And I also got a message from a Muslim guy who I was kind of friends with, who lived in like the same building as me. And he wanted to hang out that night. And I remember I met him a few times in the gym, and he was like the most wholesome guy ever, where I think he could tell that I was doing destructive behaviors. Like, I was just being a degenerate, like a university student. And he actually like really supported me, and he said like, oh, if you need any help, let me know with your assignments and stuff. I can help you. We can study together and stuff, because he was a little bit older than me. And that was really nice to hear. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. But I just basically never took him up on that offer. And this one night I had messages from both people saying, let's go hang out tonight. And I chose the degenerates, basically. So I probably made the wrong choice there, because if you can have someone who is more disciplined, ambitious, keeps themselves away from destructive bad habits, unhealthy habits, that's probably going to be the better long-term friend. And when you're close to people who are disciplined, ambitious, then you end up becoming disciplined and ambitious too. But when you're close to people who are doing destructive behaviors, they're just playing video games, you're going to end up doing that as well. Because look, if you're being honest, you probably still have a little bit of contact with your old friends who still play video games. And every time you hang out with them, you almost always go back to like your old self. Like if you go onto like the Discord call with your old gamer friends and they're all in a game without you, it just feels kind of awkward and annoying to hear people talking like, they're playing a game right now. And so you'll be more likely to just hop on the game with them. And then before you know it, it's been 2-3 hours. You didn't even have that much fun. You didn't even work on your goals for today, which actually is more enjoyable for you in the first place than playing video games. And you've just like become more like these people that you don't actually even respect. Hang out with people who you respect. Do not hang out even 1 second with people who you don't really have any respect for. Number 8, I wish I knew to make money online. So when I was 18 years old, I was working like these random part-time jobs through university. I was working as like a receptionist for £8 an hour. And the concept of making money online wasn't actually that popular back then. It's so normal now. Everyone knows the concept of like making money online in a business. But this was 10 years ago, right? I'm 28 years old. So 10 years ago, basically no one actually knew that you could like make money online. It was a bit more of a fringe thing. The only concept that like people our age had back then was just like working normal jobs. So I just got like normal part-time jobs. And then when I became about 19, 20 years old, that's when I started my first business where I was selling things on eBay. So I'm using like this online website like eBay. But I'm selling physical products, you know, like jumpers and clothing and stuff. So it's not completely online income because there's things that you have to do in the physical world. You have to go to the post office and post it. Luckily, I was dating a girl who's doing a lot of this for me, which was very nice. But either way, it wasn't online income. It was like mostly offline. You still had physical products to deal with. And that's still nice. Like having a business that makes any amount of money, whether it's online or offline, is still awesome. But the big change in my life came later on when I started this YouTube channel, which is completely online. And that's what's given me maximum freedom around the world because I'm not hunkered down to one location or physical products. I can go wherever I want. Right now I live in Bali and I can be here for as long as I want. And if I want to go somewhere tomorrow, I can just take my stuff and I can go. And in short, I just wish I started to post YouTube videos back then because that was my plan. I actually wanted to post YouTube videos when I was 18, 19 years old. And I didn't just because I was kind of like insecure and I used to think like, oh, you know, who's gonna watch me? Why would someone watch me talk about fitness and whatever because I'm still young and I'm not that big, muscular, whatever. So I didn't start for a few years till after that, but I wish I started when I was like 18 because I would have made a bit of progress, like a bit of momentum, which is always nice. But also it would have been just so wholesome to look back on those videos when I was in university and I'm really young and I'm trying to teach like fitness things. The ninth thing that I wish I knew when I was 18 years old is storytelling. I wish I developed some storytelling skills because this can be so valuable, not just for content, like we were just saying that making money online would have been a great thing when I was 18 years old, but also storytelling is just amazing for your social life, for your dating life. When you go on a date with a girl and you can just randomly tell her a story and you tell it well and you captivate her, she is like hypnotized for the next 5 minutes listening to you. Most people are just kind of boring and they don't know how to speak, they don't know how to captivate people, but when you can tell a story, you really stand out. If you're going to a party or if you're going out with friends or if you're going on a date, if you have decent storytelling skills, it's just like more fun to hang out with people because you end up telling a story that captivates a lot of people. You feel awesome and they get like an entertaining story to listen to. Number 10, your routine is everything. When I was 18 years old, I was living like without much of a routine, without thinking much about habits apart from just like going to the gym and going to university. So I would wake up and just do whatever popped into my mind. I would just, you know, do what I felt like doing. And that's such a problem, and you probably know why, is because you're just relying on motivation. You're relying on the feeling of being motivated to go to the gym or being motivated to go and do the work. The problem is a lot of the times you're not motivated to do these things. And this is where a routine is really helpful. A routine is basically where you do the same things at the same time every day if possible. It's kind of like being in the military and they have like this disciplined routine. Okay, 5 a.m. wake up and get ready, 5:30 you go outside and run, 6 a.m. you eat, 7 a.m. you do this first class, 8 a.m. you do this second class, 9 a.m. you have breakfast, 10 a.m. you do PT. Like, you know, it's everything is regimented. Each hour of the day is blocked out, and this is exactly what I recommend for you to do. Make a timetable where you write out what you're going to do for every hour of the day and then just stick to it as best as you can. This makes it so easy for you to be disciplined and to achieve your goals because instead of this vague sense of needing to be productive and living a good life, all you have to do now is just relax and follow the timetable as best as you can. And if you end up making a few mistakes here and there and one part of the timetable takes you longer today because, you know, you didn't account for something, so something you said would take 1 hour actually takes 1.5 hours and, you know, the timing's a bit fucked up, that's okay. Just follow it as best as you can because when you do that, you'll probably have like 50-60% of a perfect day, which is actually way better than one of your normal days anyway. The 11th thing that I wish I knew when I was 18 years old, porn nukes your brain. Porn gives you a massive amount of dopamine that we spoke about before, that, you know, you get this drive, this motivation for it. But afterwards, when you do one of these bad habits, your dopamine's actually lower than it was when it began, which means that you're literally less motivated and less driven for the rest of the things you want to do. Porn is like one of the biggest sources of dopamine overload for so many young people, young men and even young women now. And look, when I was like 17, 18 years old, I was still like a fapper, like I was still watching porn and jacking off. I think I maybe just about discovered NoFap about here. And I was probably maybe going like 1 or 2 days without jacking off and then watching like an hour of porn randomly. And it's just such a waste of time and it's so unhealthy for you, just for your dopamine, your brain, but then also for your relationships because you turn into like a bit of a fucking weirdo when you are watching porn. The way you speak to girls and even guys, it changes because you are just like this weird creature. Like you're full of shame because you know you're doing something wrong, compared to when it's been a while since you've watched porn. You speak like a healthy human being to people. So if I could go back in time now, I would tell that version of me, never watch porn ever again. And not only that, honestly, one of the worst parts of it basically turns you into a cuck. Like watching porn, when you think about how weird it is, you're literally watching two people have sex whilst you stroke yourself like a fucking little loser monkey. Like it turns you into a cuck. You know what a cuck is, right? A cuck is like, you know, the seat in the corner of the hotel room where a guy will sit there and like watch his wife get fucked. Basically, a cuck is like a guy who likes watching his own woman have sex with someone else. When you watch normal porn, you are quite literally training yourself by habit to become like a cuck who enjoys watching people have sex. And you can cope all you want and say like, oh no, I pretend it's me, whatever. But you are literally like training yourself to be the watcher rather than the doer. It's better to just save up your horniness, discipline yourself. Like when you feel really horny, understand you don't actually have to release, you don't have to jack off, you don't have to watch porn. Save that energy, and eventually you can be the one who has sex and you're the one who's actually performing there rather than being the one who watches. The 12th thing I wish I knew when I was 18 years old is that a good diet helps more than just your body. It will actually improve your brain and lower how much brain fog you get. So when I was 18 years old, the way that I would think about my diet was only for weightlifting, right? I only thought about calories and macros. Naturally, I ate pretty dirty food because, you know, I was like a poor university student and I didn't really know many things about health. But I always just assumed it doesn't really matter because as long as you eat the right calories and protein, you're fine. And that's not how it works at all. Maybe for bodybuilding in some ways, but for how you feel and how good your brain works and how, you know, socially charismatic you are. If you eat a bunch of shit food, you'll notice that you're kind of like weirder next to girls as well. It's so interesting, right? Because when you eat shit food, you get like this sense of brain fog and, you know, your stomach kind of hurts a little bit. And then when you go out to like a party or a club or something, which is what I was doing a lot when I was younger, you're just not as like socially charismatic and in the flow as if you had a healthy meal back then. The problem was I just didn't really know what like healthy meals were, because back then there was a lot less like true research on this. Doctors and nutritionists have been lying to people for like almost forever, basically telling people that healthy foods are actually not healthy. Like, you know, they've been telling people that eggs are bad for them all this time up until when the FDA finally announced that they were just fucking lying about it and eggs are some of the healthiest foods you could possibly eat. And it's the same with red meat as well. And then to make this even harder, I used to watch a lot of like fitness YouTube channels and all of them were as stupid as me, where they literally didn't know what healthy food was. They would randomly just eat like Pop-Tarts and say, yeah, but it's got like carbs and I need to have more carbs for the day, without even knowing that there's fucking red 40 endocrine disrupting weird chemicals in there, or it's got like weird fucking inverted glucose syrup bullshit, just, you know, weird shit ingredients. And it's like no one knew what was healthy food. And now thanks to, in big part, honestly, this is gonna sound so weird, but thanks to like these weird health maxers who all of them look like primal human beings. They've got like long hair, they don't wear shoes, they eat meat, and they basically have ate like really healthy foods. There's a few guys who live here or in some places similar to this, and they're like these weird, almost like health maxing primal human beings. And they are the people who've been preaching to eat like a lot of red meat and eggs for the last like 10, 20, 30 years. And it's only in the last few years that like TikTok's really picked this up, and now there's like the TikTok meal, which is red meat and eggs and stuff. And now people are realizing, oh, so this is what a healthy meal looks like. So I have right here, right now, the healthiest diet that I think I've had like maybe forever. And I've really noticed like my skin is clearing up, my energy levels are through the fucking roof. And so far, there has not been one single thing that I've added to my current diet that's made me feel better, only ever worse. So my current diet, and this is the diet that I would tell 18-year-old me, is literally a lot of white rice and then a lot of meat. Like, that's it. Meal number 1, I have white rice and steak. Meal number 2, I have white rice and salmon. Meal number 3, I have white rice and steak. Like, literally, I just have rice and meat, and you can add some eggs in there as well. This is like a very healthy meal, and you're probably not ready to hear about the truth about vegetables actually not being healthy for you, which you're probably thinking, wait, what the fuck? Yes, they are. Like, my doctor, who's fat, told me that vegetables are healthy, so Hamza, you have to be wrong. Yeah, your fat doctor definitely is telling you the truth, or the same one who said that cigarettes are healthy 20 years ago, and the same one who said that sugar's not bad, and the same ones who've been saying that starting your day with a bowl of fucking Kellogg's cereal is good for you. Fuck you, fat doctor. When you eat a healthy diet, it's not just about your body fat levels and the muscle you make in the gym, but it's about what happens to your brain. When I eat unhealthy foods, I notice that my brain is just stupider. It's like brain fog. Like, you just feel like there's this thick fog that's stopping you from thinking clearly. Number 13, I wish I learned to say no, because your life can be absolutely destroyed by the wrong yes. When you learn the skill of saying no to sometimes even your parents, to friends, to girls, if you learn the skill of rejecting others, that's so powerful. And a lot of people don't even have the confidence to this. A lot of people, they're just like yes men. If you ask them anything, they'll just say yes right away because they're afraid of like letting you down, which really just shows a lack of confidence and self-belief and a lack of their own values and boundaries. So if you want to have the best life ever, and if I could go back in time to my 18-year-old self, I would tell him like, you do realize like half the things that people invite you to, you can just say no. Like, don't have FOMO that the same friends are inviting you to the same nightclub for the 100th time. Just say no. Like, there were so many times I didn't want to go out to a party or a club, but I went anyway because I just had FOMO thinking, oh, what if I don't go and there's like a girl I would have banged that there and, you know, someone else will get her, and what if I don't go and one of the girls in our group that I like, she ends up getting with a guy, you know? So like, it was just FOMO anxiety bullshit, when actually if I really asked myself, do you want to go out and party tonight? A lot of the times I would have said no, I'm pretty tired, I want to go to the gym first thing tomorrow morning, but I would overthink these decisions and I wouldn't do what I wanted to do just because it felt kind of awkward to say no to people. The 14th thing is understanding that your environment can be more impactful than your willpower. So your environment is like the way you live and where you live and who you live next to. And your willpower is like your ability to resist bad habits. Most people rely on their willpower to, for example, get away from junk food and porn and stuff. But actually, one of the easiest ways to be on self-improvement is to just change your environment. So back then when I was 18 years old, I moved to university and I was living in this student building where, you know, you're all like young, stupid college kids and you're just partying, drinking, staying up late. That environment, especially in my second year of university, really hindered my progress in terms of like success. And of course, you know, in the end, it all worked out, but we're just assuming that you could go back in time and only make positive changes. Because in my second year of university, one of my flatmates, who became a good friend of mine, was like basically a full-on drug addict. Like, you know, he was a student like me as well. He was, you know, 19 years old like me. But there's students who go out and party, and then there's students who stay in and take drugs. Like, there's two different levels. You probably don't know like the level I'm talking about, but if you're from the UK, many of us know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people who will literally just, they won't even go out to a party. They'll stay in. They'll call the drug dealer and get all these big fucking drugs, and they'll just take them like just being sat there with like 2-3 of their friends. And a guy who was like this was my flatmate in my second year of university. Just so happened that he was like really funny. Me and him really got along. And before we knew it, we ended up becoming really good friends, me with my other friends as well. That very much dictated the kind of environment which I was going to be living in, because this was my flat. So we started having like flat parties till 4-5 a.m. People would come over, and yeah, it was just such an undisciplined, unproductive use of time. But shout out to this guy though, because I remember I spoke to him once, like after university finished, I think just about when I became a YouTuber. And I remember him telling me that he hadn't taken any drugs for months, so he had made great progress as well. But if you need to move, if you need to change directions to live more of the life that you want, then feel free to do that. Because, you know, after university, I was like 21 years old, and I stayed in the city where my university was, but just in like an apartment after I graduated, and I was living with this girl who was part of that group that I was talking to you about. Like, you know, we used to go out together. And that environment was honestly pretty toxic. Like, I was in a bad relationship, didn't really trust each other. We didn't even want to really be together, but we just were oddly attached to each other. Like, I was just like smoking weed every day and just being a degenerate, and I was trying to stop these bad habits like smoking weed, junk food, staying up late. But I just didn't really have the willpower, the discipline to do so, because those bad habits were kind of like a crutch that I was using to mask over the shit feeling of the way that I was living. The moment I changed my environments from then that apartment to my family home, like back in my hometown, I instantly changed all my habits and instantly got so disciplined and got serious on self-improvement, started to build a business, and everything went up from there. For months, I tried to get more disciplined in the same environment, but just by changing the environment, I made instantly more progress. And there's something so interesting about moving, changing environments. It is actually the original self-improvement tactic. The first ever self-improvement tactic of mankind was literally picking up your stuff and moving, changing environments. That's what our ancestors used to do as a form of like self-improvement, to go somewhere where the opportunities were more abundant. It is ingrained inside of us that when we are in an environment that is not bearing fruit, we pick up our stuff and we move. The 15th thing that I wish I learned when I was 18 years old is the importance of reading books. So I used to do a lot of like content consuming, uneducational stuff, just mindless brain rot and entertainment vines and shit like that. But if I could go back in time, I'd love to tell that version of me to read books, because one, it trains your attention span so you're able to focus more on people in conversations and on studying. But two, books have been where I've gotten the best source of information and knowledge, which I've used on my own self-improvement and then which I've ended up teaching on YouTube, which has made me very successful. So I'd suggest that version of me to read like 20 pages a day, and it would honestly really compound and change his life. I really think reading self-improvement books is so underrated. Like the amount of good ideas that you get and practical insights and actionable steps that are so easy to implement is so good that the level of knowledge in a lot of these books that are quite popular is so high. Like reading has changed my life forever. It's been the best source of knowledge for me. And along with that, the 16th thing that I wish I knew when I was younger is protecting my attention. Your attention is just what you're focusing on, what you're spending your time on. And when I was younger, I never really valued my time or my attention. And so I'd put my attention into like, a lot of my sort of degenerate dating life. I'm talking to this girl and this girl and this girl with my friends. We're going out, taking drugs. And my attention was just dispersed into areas that weren't actually serving me. I wish I protected my attention and just put it into my own growth instead. And I started to observe myself and think, okay, well, what ways can I improve myself? I can improve my fitness, take it to the next level. I can improve my mind. I can improve this knowledge, this thing. I can make a business and make money, because all these things will make you more of an attractive, confident, satisfied young man. But I was just spending all my attention on mindless brain rot content. It's like the equivalent of watching like Greg Doucette videos and it's just like filled with fucking hate and squeaky voices. It's just like a waste of time. The 17th thing that I wish I knew when I was 18 is don't think about it. Thinking about it refers to when someone says, oh, well, I'm thinking about starting boxing. I'm thinking about starting the gym. I'm thinking about starting YouTube. It's basically like a phrase that a pussy says, because a lot of things to start honestly only takes like an hour or two. Like you can go and do your first boxing session within the next few hours. You can go and make your first YouTube video like in 25 minutes. But people will think about starting for like 3-6 months, even longer first. But the thing is, their first activity, like their first session of boxing, their first YouTube video, it's gonna be shit whether they do the first thing today or in 6 months' time. So thinking about it just ends up being this big net loss where you're just procrastinating on your dream. And I wish I could go back in time and tell that 18-year-old version of me, don't think about it. Anything that you are thinking about, just go and do it today. Literally, instead of thinking about being a YouTuber, which is what I was thinking about when I was 18, just go and record a few videos right now, because you will literally make so much more progress if you just go and try it rather than thinking about it and pretending to be productive because you think you need to plan it or something, because you don't. Most things in life you don't have to plan, you just have to show up to. And the final thing that I wish I knew when I was 18 years old is to make a habit tracker and have a visual page somewhere stuck up on your wall of how consistent you've been in the habits that would serve you well. When you are just mindlessly going to the gym every now and then and doing some of these good habits like eating clean, you almost don't realize how consistent or inconsistent you've been. But when you make a physical habit tracker and you literally make it up on paper and stick it up on your wall or on your mirror, and you notice that you've missed the gym like 3 times this week, and you notice that you've ate bad food like 4 times this week, it becomes so glaringly obvious. You have like this huge level of accountability to think, oh shit, like my diet's actually really bad. I really have to take it seriously. Otherwise, without this visual component, it's so easy to cope and to believe that you are generally sticking to your diet or not missing gym days or not missing studying. But when it's up on your wall, especially where someone else can see, girls will come into your room and see it, your friends will see it, family will see it, and it feels kind of embarrassing if someone sees that you haven't been to the gym like in 4 days in a row, even though you act like you're the athlete. And as long as you don't lie and fake the ticks, as long as you don't rip the page off the wall, the pain that you'll feel from not checking off a bunch of boxes in a row will cause you enough suffering and discomfort to start getting more consistent in the habits that will change your life. Even though I wasn't perfect and disciplined when I was 18 years old, I still ended up picking up the slack when I got a little bit older, and I've been able to build such an incredible life that I really like. So if you are older than 18, or if right now you are struggling, there's still time. Like, you should be in a bit of a rush because, this is your life and you want to start living a good life of discipline where you're growing to your goals. But this does not mean that you've ran out of time and it's too late, because I only started to be really productive when I was like 22 years old. So if you're like 18 or 17 watching this, good on you. And if you're older older than 18 and you're still watching this, there's still time for you. Just start doing the good habits that you know will build up the life that you want. Get rid of the bad habits that are just destroying your potential and giving you the life that you don't want. And in the end will be so much satisfaction and fulfillment for you. This path of self-improvement completely and utterly changed my life forever. And I just wish that for you. So thank you for being here, for clicking on my video today. And do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah. By the way, no pressure, but there's a few links underneath this video that you can check out if you want to have a look at my paid programs. When you trust me enough and you feel like my free content has already changed your life, you can have a look at those.